Jo.
And we are Joe and Sarah's Crazy Honest Autism Talk. JASCHAT. So this is our second episode, and what we thought we would talk about today is the signs of autism. So if you haven't got a diagnosis for your child yet, this is what you would look out for. Now, we actually downloaded an article from the internet. It's quite broad, so we just thought we would discuss the points that are made and actually talk about our experiences with, because some of them I don't necessarily agree with, but we thought they're a good guideline anyway. So one of the ones that they say, the first one, which I don't agree with, is withdrawal from physical contact with parents and other people. Now, from my experience with that, Beth isn't necessarily as affectionate now as she was, but she's 16, so that's an age thing as well, I think. But when she was younger, she was very affectionate with us, and she loved nothing more than to sit and have a cuddle and read a book, climb up on somebody's lap. In fact, she'll still do that sometimes. We live next door to my in-laws, and I'll say, go and sit with Grandma, and she will go and plonk herself down in her lap. And you've seen how big she is. She's not that Grandma's quite tiny.
It's cute, yes.
So what's your experience been?
Well, I have seen some children that just observed, some kids that actually don't hug their parents or anything, but are very obsessed with them.
Yeah.
But just like to have them within eye shot as opposed to hugging them or sitting on their knee or anything like that. Yeah. Daniel, he is always hugging, always trying to hug the cats, carrying the cats around, the dogs as well, and also in a sand pit. He's anyone's. The first free knee he sees, he'll just go sit on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He loved the dads at kinder. He always...
Yeah, see, Beth was like that as a young child as well. She holds my hand, which was also more of a safety issue because she's not good with traffic. But she will creep her hand into somebody's as they're walking down the street. Like she's very affectionate like that. So yeah.
Yes, Daniel touches the back of ladies' dresses,
so the women will turn around and
it's like, sorry.
Okay, well, point 2 they're saying is problem making direct eye contact with people. I agree with this one, but I don't have an issue with this one. I think that there are two streams of thought with this. There are the specialists that are very big on, you need to make eye contact with me, that's how we do it in the normal world. My belief is that if you've got a child that is trying so hard to make eye contact, they're not able to concentrate on what you're trying to actually tell them because they're concentrating so much on making eye contact. I don't like eye contact much myself, but this is actually a list of what to look out for.
Yes.
So not what your opinion is on it. And yeah, I agree with that one. What do you think?
I think that when they're young, it's important that they be able to engage with an adult. And I remember my cousin came to visit me before Daniel was diagnosed. It was the day before we were going to go see the speech therapist. And she got on my bed and she's like, oh. And I go, whoa, what's wrong? She goes, he did not engage with me at all. And I was like, oh, okay. And that frightened me.
Yeah.
But I always remember that because I thought, oh, okay, so people notice it. I've never noticed it because I wear glasses. Yeah. Daniel would always come and look me in the eye, or I thought so, but he was actually just looking at his reflection in my glasses. So now that I think back, he probably always...
So I would say that that's definitely a sign of it then.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Number 3 is over-passivity. Is that how you say it?
Passivity? Yes.
So saying basically, it says babies with autism may exhibit signs of over-passivity when they do not move, cry, or even have the slightest interest in their surroundings. I think that's quite extreme. I didn't really notice it so much in Beth. She was a pretty easy baby, but then so was my 13-year-old, and he doesn't have autism. So, they tend to sleep throughout the night again. So did my son. She was a fairly passive baby, but I didn't see that as being an autism sign. But then maybe it is. Maybe it is.
Well, yeah, because I thought I was the luckiest mum in the world, because I could push Daniel for hours and he'd never complain. And I remember I went out with some mums from Mother's Group, and one of the mums, her son, just wanted to jump out of the stroller, and run around. And I remember just thinking to myself, oh, you poor thing, that he's going to be a handful.
Yeah.
But, you know, how things have changed, because Daniel's the handful now and he's like, he's the great student.
Yeah.
So, yes.
I guess this is talking about, with before diagnosis, that, you know, in hindsight, if you've got a child who's like that. Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
It's changed as well. But yeah, as a young baby, she was very passive, but as I say, so was Bill. Because
I had a massive playpen for Daniel set up in the house, and he was happy to just sit in there and play. And I said to the speech therapist, but you know, he doesn't scream, he doesn't, you know, beg for me to get him out of the playpen, and she goes, yeah, that's right. I
was the same with Beth actually. I put her in for her afternoon nap and she wouldn't necessarily go to sleep, but I could leave her there for the 2 hours and she'd never cried or carried on or anything. So I guess in that sense.
And Patrick spent about 2 minutes in there before he started, you know, begging to come out. So when I look back now, absolutely.
Yeah.
But when you have no child to compare it to,
absolutely.
It seems the right thing to do.
So the next one, it says, is delayed motor development, which I find a bit difficult for me because Beth was 7.5 weeks prem, so a lot of hers was delayed anyway. However, the health sister would sort of hint at things. You know, she would say, oh, she's a bit behind with this, and I'd say, that's because she's prem. Like, I would jump straight in and say, that's because of this or that's because of that, and be almost defending Beth. Because I'd think, oh, God, you know, you just find everything wrong. In hindsight, I look back and I think, gee, she picked it up a long time before anybody else did. But I put everything down to her being premature. And again, being our first child, I had no idea.
Exactly. Well, Daniel sat up at the age of 5 months and started walking at 10 months. So he certainly wasn't backward in motor skills. So for that reason, I had nothing to be concerned about.
Beth didn't walk until 20 months, but neither did Bill. And again, he hasn't got autism. So, but she is, as far as motor skills are concerned, she's very floppy. She hasn't got good gross motor skills. She hasn't got particularly good fine motor skills either. So, I guess those things, but they're hard to pick up in a baby.
Especially if you don't know what to look for.
Yeah.
Daniel can climb. He's a great rock climber. He can climb anything. But yeah, fine motor. I think an OT would say he's got bad gross motor skills.
Yeah.
Or he needs work. But from me, being a non-expert, I'm just like, wow, he's great.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It is really hard to pick up on these things.
Yeah.
What's good? What's not good?
That's right, especially with your first child. The next one, which is very true for us, is hyperactivity. I think I was saying to you earlier, I remember when we got Beth diagnosed and I was pregnant. Actually, this is before we knew that she had autism, because I was just pregnant with Bill and very sick, just had really bad morning sickness. And we were at a play group and I remember thinking, oh, okay, I'm just going to sit down for 5 minutes. She's painting a picture. And the next thing, she had the paint brushes and she ran along and just painted a line all the way along the wall, and I just went, oh, for sakes, what the hell, give me 5 minutes break. She just would do that. She'd do things like that all the time. We'd go to a park and I'd think, right, you're playing on the play equipment, and she'd just piss off. Where is she? And I'd look and she'd be sitting at someone's table out, just eating their food. She just used to nick off all the time.
Yeah, I only went to parks that had big fences. Yeah, but yeah, he just run off. That's his, and he'd be looking for water features.
Yeah, Beth loved
or
water
taps
as well.
or bubblers.
Yeah. Beth loved water as well, and I know I remember thinking, you know, whenever there's on the news, whenever there's, you know, a child's gone missing and they've drowned, or a child's gone missing and then they're a train, I straight away thought they've got autism.
Yeah.
Because they're either obsessed with water or obsessed with trains.
Exactly, that's right. And it's and my heart always drops into my stomach
absolutely.
when I read that. I just think,
it's just your worst nightmare.
It is. But Daniel, this is when I know he is really sick, is he will just lay in bed.
All right, the next one is lack of desire to feed. I feel like I'm almost poo-pooing all of the answers because I don't agree with that one either. But I know people that have got issues with their kids with eating. Beth never had a problem with her food, never. But I've got friends that have got. One friend's got a son who only eats white or yellow foods. Actually, no, I do agree with that one, because in the general population of kids with autism, there is issues, because I've been very lucky with Beth, actually.
You have been.
Yeah.
Daniel never had a problem with drinking from the bottle. He had the best appetite, and even I had great joy in making, you know, little pasta things and stuff, and putting it in the containers and putting them in the freezer for my husband to heat up if I went out. And he'd eat when he was younger, and then after about 18 months old, it was white. He went on the white diet.
Yeah.
Pasta and cheese, but he's always refused to even sniff at a banana.
Okay.
But white rice, white pasta.
So he's still like that. Okay.
Hot dogs and things he will eat, but they have to look right, they have to smell right.
Yeah.
They have to be in their pure packaged form. Like he needs sometimes he needs to see what package it came out of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. See, we're really lucky with Beth. She won't eat anything that's spicy or any, you know, like she's not adventurous. She loves the veggies and she loves the fruit. And out of all of my kids, she's the only one that doesn't consider fruit to be, you have to eat fruit. Like, she will choose fruit as a snack, which, I mean, I don't even do that. I think, yeah, I've got to eat the fruit today, and I enjoy it when I do eat it, but she will choose that. Like, she could just have fruit salad for lunch, she'd be happy with that. Whereas my other kids, it's like, have you had any fruit today? Yeah, all right, then I'll have some fruit. So, yeah.
Daniel used to eat strawberries, but I think that he had a sour one, and he just remembers, no, I'm not gonna, because he used to love them. He used to sit with my mum, and they'd watch TV, and he'd eat a whole punnet of strawberries, and one day he just stopped eating them. And I think it's because he picked out one sour one. Yeah. Same with grapes.
Yeah.
Just, it only takes one.
Yeah, that's right, and then that's it.
And because they have the most brilliant memory.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, the next one is failure to react to a parent's voice of presence. Basically, not reacting to a parent's voice. And we've both said we've experienced that we've had to have the hearing test before our diagnosis, just to rule that out. So I can't remember Beth not reacting to my voice, but clearly that must have been the case, otherwise we wouldn't have had to have had the hearing test.
I remember Daniel not. And the number of times I've had to say, Daniel, I wish I'd given him a shorter name, like Bob.
Call him Dan.
Oh, no, Daniel. Because Dan's kind of an old man name. Sorry for Dan.
I love the name Dan.
No.
Anyway, go on.
So, like, he loved touching the DVD player, the Foxtel, and when we went over to Mum's and Dad's, he'd be touching it, and I'd be going, Daniel, Daniel, and he wouldn't stop.
Actually, Beth was like that. She went through a stage of smashing plates. So, but she knew she would do it with eggs. We'd go to my in-laws' house, and you'd look in through the window, and you'd say, she's at the bloody fridge with an egg, and she'd be standing there like this, and she could stand there for 15 minutes. Until you walked in the door, and then she'd look, and then she'd drop it. Shoot. But yeah, she would do it with plates. She'd be going, Beth, don't do that, and then she'd just drop a plate.
Daniel still is going through the egg stage. What he does is he'll go to the top of the stairs now, and because we've got an open staircase, and he'll push the eggs through the staircase so you can watch them fall from a height.
Oh,
He
very
does that.
impressive.
He does that with Patrick's Lego as well,
Yeah.
which Patrick's not very impressed with. But I sort of think, well, he's going to be good at physics.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
But I guess it's whether or not what this is about is it's not whether they didn't listen to us, it's whether they didn't react to us. Because with something like that, in both our kids' cases, that's them actually enjoying what they're doing, more so than not listening to what we're saying.
That's right, exactly. Please themselves as
Yeah.
opposed to please their parents.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think in a way, it's because I remember with Beth when she was really little and not answering, it's in their minds, I don't feel the need to answer. I don't have anything to say to you. You know I'm here, so why do I have to answer you? In their minds, it's almost like that's irrelevant. So
Yeah, exactly. I'm
I
not
don't
trying
need
to
to
run
talk to
away.
you.
Yes. Now Daniel does because he knows my tone.
yeah.
But in the younger days, it was like talking to a brick wall sometimes.
Well, see, I find that with Beth that I will constantly be Beth, and we were saying before about saying turn it down with different things. But she's 16, so she's 16.
If I do now,
When
if
did
I,
I say what?
now if I want Daniel to take in what I'm saying, I do say, Daniel, look at me, because that's the only time I know when he knows Mum's
Yeah.
saying something to me, and he actually will look at me,
Oh yeah, I do that with Beth
Yeah.
now. So you need to repeat what I just said to you.
which is
And
like
then
so
she'll know.
exciting, considering he spent most of his life avoiding eye contact.
Yeah.
At least now when I say look at me, he looks at me.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
Okay, accelerated growth of the head circumference. This is an interesting one. Beth actually, her head did grow very quickly, but again, she was a preemie, and she's a very tall girl now, as you've seen. She's
Yes.
taller than me. She's nearly 6 foot. She grew very, very quickly, but she started very, very small. So even for a 7.5 week prem, she was still 5 pounds, which is a normal sized baby, a small baby, but not a 2 month early baby. So I don't know whether I can relate that to her autism or not, because my son's also got a fairly big head as well.
Some people just have big heads.
Yeah, we've got a big head family. So I don't know about that one. That's an interesting point though.
I can't say for certain because Daniel was always in the higher percentile
Yeah.
for his growth, and he's going to be taller than me very soon. But he hasn't had a problem growth-wise. He's
Yeah.
always been in the higher percentile.
Yeah. same
So
with Bethy.
again, I don't know.
Abnormalities in communicating with people, that's a given, I think. I think that's the biggest one, really. It does say here, which I don't necessarily agree with, children with this condition would rather struggle alone than ask for help. I don't think it's a matter of wanting to struggle alone. I think it's an inability to know actually how to ask for help, to know that they need help. So I don't think it's necessarily a choice. I think it's not knowing.
Absolutely. I remember distinctly, at about 16 months, Mum and Dad were going for their first cruise, and at that time I was quite happy to fly because I didn't think Daniel had any issues. And so we were in Sydney and Mum and Dad were getting on their cruise ship, and he already had some words. Please, thank you. And Mum and Dad left, and he screamed and cried and screamed and cried. So much so I thought Mum and Dad were going to turn back. Anyway, we got home, so we flew back to Melbourne that night, and I could say virtually overnight he stopped talking. And I remember telling Mum and Dad, oh, he's so traumatised from you guys leaving him
No.
that he stopped talking because I couldn't get anything out of him. Like, I practically begged him to say something.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's when I know, but in hindsight, that's when I go, oh, okay, that might be it. But yeah, he stopped communicating with him, but I don't think it was because he wanted to.
Yeah.
I think he just lost the ability.
I think that they need to be taught things that we just take for granted. So I remember with Beth, one of the big breakthroughs with us is if she had taken something, which she does a lot of other people's, and I say, where is such and such? And she'd say, it's downstairs it's here, it's in this bedroom, it's here, and it never would be. And I said to her, I had to actually explain to her, you can actually say, I don't know. Because she, in her mind, it was, this requires an answer, so I have to give her an answer, even if it was just to shut me up. She's asking me a question, I have to give her an answer, otherwise she's going to keep asking, so she'd just say whatever. And I said, you can say, I don't know. And she didn't know that. And you just assume that kids can actually go, I don't know where it is. She had no idea that you could actually say that. And it just saved me so much time because I was looking for things and she'd just say, it's such and such. It's like, it wasn't there.
That's very interesting, isn't it?
You just assume that, that they would know things like that, but she just...
Because Paddy's always, I don't know, Mum, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how can you not know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Daniel has a lack of verbal communication. If he wants spaghetti though, he'll go into the pantry, get the packet of spaghetti and put it into a pot.
Yeah.
Or he's always been able to grab whatever he wanted. Or he would grab us and lead us into the kitchen and kind of put our hand where he wanted it. So
well, that's where I think the PECs or any of the picture of course this is talking about before you actually know that your child's got autism, but you know, to alleviate the frustration of them not being able to explain something to you, you know, visual cues and things like that really go a long way, I think.
Yes.
To helping them.
Except your McDonald's card needs to be double laminated because ours got far too much use. Yes.
Okay, we're just about there. I think that's it, isn't it? So I'd like to summarise a little bit though in the fact that I believe that even if you know this list isn't conclusive by any means, and I think that if you think that your child has got autism and you're looking up checklists on the internet, it's great to have them as guidelines, but it's not the be all and end all, and not all children with autism have got all of these as we've discussed today. And don't do your child a disservice by actually saying, oh, he hasn't got any of those things, or he's only got this and this, therefore he hasn't got autism, because it's not conclusive and only a diagnosis will actually tell you that. And I think there are people that I know of that have really wanted to deny the fact that their child's got autism. It doesn't make them not autistic. I'd liken it to not doing a pregnancy test until you've had a big night out. It doesn't make you not pregnant just because you don't know about it. So if you've got a child that you know, you really, in your heart of hearts, probably do know that there's an issue, but you've done this checklist and said, no, he hasn't got any of that, so he hasn't got autism. It doesn't mean he's not autistic. It just means that, you know, he or she could have different symptoms than that's on this list. So if you really do believe it, you know, I'm a big believer in early intervention. The sooner you sort it out, the sooner you can start helping your child.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, and I just think you get that niggling feeling, but you're always put away going, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
And I think that if I had addressed that niggling feeling I had, I probably would have had Daniel diagnosed much earlier.
Yeah.
But they say hindsight's 20/20. I know. I was even trying to deny it when the speech therapist said, "Oh no, look, he needs to see a few other professionals, but it does look like he has autism." And I went home going, "No, it doesn't. He looks at my eyes, but that was the reflection in my glasses." And you look at him and go, "Oh no, that's not autistic. How dare she say that?"
Yeah.
You know. And then I think if I had gotten a diagnosis earlier, I could have started intervention earlier.
Yeah. But then hindsight's a very good thing, isn't it? Because I look at things like we did get Beth diagnosed early. I still didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I had, you know, 2 more kids come along after, and I bluffed my way through a lot of it. And I look back now and think, gee, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done ABA therapy, or I wish we'd done this differently, or I had, you know, there's always things that you wish you'd done differently. But you just deal with what you can at the time.
Well, with Patrick, I was more proactive. If there was even a hint of anything, Like I sent him to a developmental play gym,
Yeah.
which was just in general for kids. It was just a little play group. But it was run by OTs and speechies.
Okay, yeah.
And so, I made sure that he was being observed very carefully. And if ever I felt unsure, I'd certainly make an appointment with the next available OT. And they always said he was fine, so
Yeah.
I was like, oh, good. But
And
it was
then you
nice.
don't want to be known as the paranoid parent. It's like,
That's
oh,
right,
God,
exactly.
she thinks that this one's got it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they go, Joy, come on. I'm like, no, but he does this. Then he started, I'm like, oh.
And the thing is who knows what is parroting? Who knows what is actually copied from their older sibling?
That's right, because I said to Mum and Dad, oh no, he's not talking. They're a little bit concerned. And they're like, he talks all the time, but he probably didn't talk with me. And then he knew all his colours. And I was like, but he's so smart, he probably is autistic. Anyway,
Yeah.
he's fine, but I was very aware of things
as you
there.
are. But
Yes.
you don't know with you first. So.
No, that's
anyway,
right.
we'll wrap it up there. So I think that'll do us for this episode.
Yes.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.